What's up, everyone? Welcome to another District Gooner Pod, episode 42, brought to you by two Arsenal supporters in Washington, D.C. Steven, my co-host, sitting next to me in the lab. Say hi to the people, dude.
Howdy. Yeah, we in the lab. We're back together, doing our thing. Had a big weekend, man. Ran the Cherry Blossom Race here in D.C. I think there was 17,000 people out there around the country running this thing. So yeah, shout out anybody that's listening that ran the Cherry Blossom Race. I wore my Highbury Marble jersey out on the run. I got plenty of top of the league. So yeah, great experience.
That's so fun, dude. So it sounds like there were some Arsenal supporters present.
Absolutely, in the corrals from the get-go. In the corral, we're waiting for the race. Guy comes up to me, gives me a shout out. It was cold. It was chilly. So it was probably, 40 degrees. So he had a jacket on. He pulls up his sweater. He also has Arsenal gear on. It's like, yeah, buddy. People spectating saw me running by. Arsenal. So I give him a shout out. It was very fun. There are DC supporters. There's American supporters out there. We are gargantuan.
We are, dude. We are. It's such a shame. There used to be such a nice little pub here in DuPont Circle, and it was an Arsenal pub, and the pandemic hit, man. And ever since the pandemic, it's been under renovations. They say it's coming back. I don't know. It's been closed for like 3-4 years now. So hopefully it comes back, because it was such a vibe to go to those games, especially because sometimes you get the 7:30 a.m. games and you still see a packed pub in DC. And you're like, this is where I should be. This is where I belong.
Starting the day off right, 7:30 a.m. And you got to have a couple, right? Because you're in the pub. So starting the day off strong.
Strong, dude. And I mean, that was my experience 5 years ago. Bro, the squad wasn't even to these levels, man. So now it would be like they probably wouldn't even let me in the pub. There would be a line outside waiting to get in, man, because the Arsenal are back on top of the league, dude. Had a little favorable result going our direction on top of taking care of our own business. And it's so good. Obviously, we've been off the pod for a little bit here just this week. And there was 2 games. Had the Luton game, 2-0. Heard it on the pod. Dude. Prediction City over here. I get a little nervous. We don't usually get the predictions right, but since we've started this pod, we have actually been getting predictions right. So
Heat check,
dude. Just looking at my hand, like, what have I done, dude? And then we had Brighton 3-0. We had 3-1 on the pod, but the boys in the back said, bro, put some respect on my name, bro. Big Gabby in the house, man. I'm celebrating 92 minutes in for a block shot, dude. I'm like that, bro.
Big things. I see you got a stat here. I think you need to read it for those playing at home. What is that?
So for those of you playing at home, I had the title of this podcast written before kickoff against Brighton. That's how high the confidence levels are, man. 11, 1-1. Sticks, whatever you want to call it, dude. Games unbeaten in 2024. Arsenal Football Club, man.
Big things since the new year. So I guess let's talk about the lineup a little bit. Any surprises for you? So changes from the Luton game. J20, Jorginho back in. Kind of a surprise, Jesus back on the left wing. And Zinchenko back at left back. Did you have any feelings going into it?
I've been enjoying Jesus getting time on the wing. We've kind of called that out before on the pod a few months ago, even, that I'd like to see Jesus and Kai operating in those 2 positions, and that's been really fun to see. Zinchenko, he's just Zinchenko, I think, still, right? It's nice to have him. It's nice to get the performances. He's been a little quiet, I think, in the last couple of games, but also just getting back into it. So J20, I mean, yeah, dude, I was surprised the most to see J20 because I watched that Luton game and I thought, he's back.
Uh-oh.
TP5. DP5 is back.
I'm saying with you. I thought Thomas Partey in that Luton game, giving us those feels of yesteryears. Jorginho didn't have a great game against Luton, but man's class, right? I think actually had a good game against Brighton. Got that assist. Wasn't too flashy or anything. Zinchenko is an interesting one. There's a lot of chatter about, Arsenal moving past him. He's not a player for the future. Left back, you got Kibior, you have Timber, you have Tomiyasu. Where does Zinchenko fit in? He's been our number one for almost, 1.5 years now? He's been our number one left back. Like you said, he's been quiet the last 2 games, which I think by Zinchenko standards, that's good. That means he's not on the ball too much, doing things that are unnecessary, getting us in trouble. I have said here before, Zinchenko, Jorginho, that's a bad mixture because they take up the same spots on the pitch. I think Zinchenko's playing a little bit wider in this case, yeah? I don't see him and Jorginho linking up like I think they would, which is good. I think Zinchenko, he's been maybe watching the Kiwi show a little bit, like maybe I can change it up, change the flow.
It was fascinating to see Zinchenko trending before kickoff. I was just browsing X, going in the trending section, kind of seeing, usually it's the game hashtag that pops up for me, maybe another player, but like Zinchenko of all people. So I started kind of going down this rabbit hole. Pre-kickoff, during the match, people just saying, how did Zinchenko snake his way back into the starting line, dude? And to be honest with you, I didn't realize people loved Kiwior so much, dude. That was the part that was shocking to me. And at the same time, it's like, there is still a pecking order, man. Like, there is still levels, dude. So if you're online saying, how did this guy get back in my starting line? I think you got to take the goggles off, man, because you're not seeing it right.
That's exactly it. It's taking the goggles off. Kiwior's played maybe 6 games? I actually don't really know. Let's just say he's played 6 games of the 38 game season. Like, don't give me that, all right? Like, don't give me that. Just because this is what's happened now on the regular now, things have changed completely. Nah, Zinchenko's still that dude. Obviously, he's got a mistake in his locker, and we know that. We know it, but I think hopefully he knows that as well. Just like I'm saying, he didn't take up the same spaces as Jorginho. Who knows? But I'm actually happy to see Zinchenko back, man.
He didn't, and dude, to be fair to Jorginho, I mean, we'll get to this, but he ended up on the right wing. For that second goal, he was roaming out there, bro. So,
put rockets in his boots on the overlap.
That overlap was hilarious, dude. The way he's just picking up speed, dude. He kills me, man. He absolutely kills me. I love him. Let's talk a little bit about the first half of the Brighton game, huh? I think it started out, the first 10 minutes or so had me slightly worried the way the game kicked off. Away at Amex. Did you realize they hadn't lost there since August?
Yeah, they started off the game commentary. We'll have to get into commentary because there's obviously everybody knows what we're about to get into, especially if you're getting the American feed. But yeah, they mentioned that early. Hard team to beat at home. Uh-oh. Here we go. First 15, man. Not great. Not a great showing from us. Brighton got in quite a few times. They were getting shots. The shots were long range. I know Motor had a shot. I think, what's his name?
I don't know. You're talking about the right wing?
The left wing. Yeah. The guy that actually had the banger.
I don't know.
Enciso, I think. Enciso. I'm going to go with Enciso. Don't fact check me.
Good enough, dude. Good enough.
They had some long range shots, and we really couldn't get anything going the first 15, so it's kind of shaky. But once we get a foothold in the game, you could just tell the momentum just changed. By that 25th minute, we're basically on top at that point. We're just getting on top, and the rest was history. There was big chances from us in the half, starting off strong with that Gabby header that he put wide. That hurt a lot. That Saka chance, that one hurt. I thought he had that locked.
Saka chance, I was so sure it was a goal. Yeah. I was so sure it was a goal. The way he was through, the way the cut was coming, you just knew where that ball was supposed to end up, dude. Not wide. So... But to his credit, we got a penalty, and he stepped up, and he absolutely buried it. A lot of talking points around the penalty. Jesus got fouled. For me, it's a penalty, like, all day. I didn't even see it as debate, dude, to be honest with you, because he beats the guy, essentially. You know he's getting to that ball. The supporting defenders are too far away. So the closest person to the ball is still Jesus. And if he's not tackled, which you can see in one of the angles, he clearly gets taken out.
Yeah.
It's a penalty. What's up for debate, dude? I know you're heated about this one because former Arsenal man Lee Dixon would not shut up on air about this, dude.
Lee Dixon. So this happened at, what was this, like the 35th minute? I guess that went in.
Uh-huh.
So he talked about it until half. The halftime analysts talk about it basically like, Lee Dixon, I don't know what you're talking about. It's a penalty. Second half starts. He's still talking. He's still talking about this. Like, Lee, just give it up. You're wrong. Like, you're trying to act like you're impartial or something. You're wrong, dude.
It's very interesting. I think in seasons past, I have found Lee Dixon to be a good pundit. I think this season in particular, to your point, maybe he's just trying to set the record straight a little bit and say, I'm impartial. And so he's just taking the absolute opposite of some things to maybe also remind some other people to like, hey man, put your club aside every now and then. But it's rare that every single pundit in the studio at half disagrees with you. Yeah. Every single, usually there's three of them at like it's 2-1, but every single one was like, it's a penalty. I don't know what he's talking about.
It's so crazy. It's like you can't tell me back in the day when Lee's playing that's not a penalty either. It's a penalty. Sure, he gets his toe gets on the ball, the defender's toe touches it, but to your point, like Jesus is still in possession. If he's able to jump over that attack, he still has the ball. He's getting a touch. The ball bounces. And then it bounces again, and the guy, the other defender, clears it. Basically, it's like it's an easy pen, Lee. I don't know what you're talking about, but I am tired of it. Okay, I don't want to hear Lee. I don't like Graham. Get him out of here as well. But other big event of the half. You've been saying it. You've been saying it. I think this was the moment. Big save, David Raya. This was the big save.
He was able to stretch to a finesse shot, huh? A finesse shot didn't bend around the little guy this time. He said, you know what? I've been working on my footwork a little bit. I've been working on the positioning a little bit. I can get to these now, actually. It was so reminiscent of the couple of shots that he's been getting scored on, those finesse shots from the left wingers. And yeah, I have to be honest with you. It was a very nice and very important save because it came near the end of the first half, right?
Yep.
And he helped kind of see it 1-0 to go into the locker room. And yeah, man, look, gonna call it out when I see it, and I'm gonna call it out when I see it. That's what you get on District Gooner Pod, dude.
And I did fact check myself. It is Enciso, so I was right. Thank goodness.
Name another pod that fact checks as much, dude. Name another pod.
But yeah, huge save. That I've seen that dude score before on long range bangers. We've seen a goal like that recently. That curved around Mr. Raya, but yeah, big save. Put it out wide. That wrapped up the half. Yeah, 1-0. Halftime comes in. Did you have any feels about people coming in, coming out?
Dude, honestly, 30 minutes into the game, I wanted J20 off. He wasn't getting into the game again. The passing wasn't there again. And I had seen enough to say, give me that TP5 juice, dude. But to be fair, at the same time, I was thinking, it's Bayern on Tuesday. We'll get to the Champions League preview in the second half of the show. But I did feel like we're saving him. We're saving him for the Germans, dude.
I like that. I do like that. My thought was the same. I thought Jorginho was more of a passenger in that half. Because Brighton can play the ball. So at points when they actually are able to play, Jorginho just kind of more of a passenger type player, right? He's not moving around too much. But he obviously 1-0, not too bad. My one thought at halftime, bro. Kai, get my guy Kai on the score sheet. He set up Jesus for like 2 or 3 in the first half, where he's kind of in. He could take a half chance. He said, nah, he pulled it out and then dinked it over to Jesus like 2 or 3 times. Jesus putting the ball wide. He had that one shot volley wide by mile. But I said, I'm thinking, Kai, that's enough of that. Put this thing on goal, man. Put the thing on goal.
How good is King Kai, dude?
Woo-wee.
How good is King Kai, dude? It's time to say it with your chest now, bro. Been saying it with my chest, man, since we signed the kid. He's 24, by the way. I don't think he's a kid. But what a lad, dude. Built like rock. Playing center forward. How many times do you think in the past you've seen Eddie and you think, make the extra pass? And now we're here with a guy who's maybe making too many extra passes, right? But that's the level of football IQ that we're seeing from him, man. If he feels that the other guy's a better choice, he will pass it off, dude. I mean, you're talking about his layoffs to Jesus, the layoff he had in the Luton game to Odegaard for the first goal. I mean, what a perfect pass. How many center forwards in this league can just get into the 18 box, have that composure and calmness to basically square a ball across the 18, right on his left foot to slice through, and know the player he's passing to. He was passing it to him to slice. Yeah. It's like, I'm setting this up for you to slice it in that corner, dude. That's the levels about him. And what a second goal, dude. And it just feels like he's been watching tape. He's been watching, because so many times in the last few weeks, when he started to get the starts, what did we talk about? He hasn't been playing striker for us. So you do have to give him a little bit of time to get into the striker rhythm. And he has seen, and they've worked on it, about how to actually make that near post run. It was Giroud-esque, bro.
Yeah. In and out like a wide receiver. So he's basically he's locked down the 9 till the end of the season, right? I think so. It is official. That's his position. Left 8. I can see him going back there maybe during the game, as a defensive type move, right? I could see it happening. But he is the 9 till the end of the season. The position is his.
I think so, and I think if you see Jesus at left wing 2 games in a row, that's your indicator, right? That, bro, this position's secured by someone else, bro, and I gotta give him playing time. So you go play out wide, big man.
Did you see the quote from Arteta on it?
No, what did he say?
He's basically saying the team dictates, like in just bluff, bottom line up front, was the team dictated this is what the move was. The players dictated this. The flow of the team with him up front dictated this decision. That's huge. I want to say that's huge for Arteta because I think he's very stubborn and he wanted to play him at left 8. I know that. We all know that.
Yep.
Played him up top a few times. We thought it looked good, but really the play of this team has dictated. He's our striker. He makes us go right now. So I love it. I'm thinking he's going to keep bagging goals. He definitely is going to keep getting assists because, like you just said, he will look for other players first at times. That could be a detriment at some points, but as of right now, our goal scorers come from everywhere. Left wing, right wing, midfield, Odegaard's. I think him and Odegaard have a nice connection.
They really do.
So yeah, goals are going to be coming from everywhere, and hopefully him as well.
And dude, especially, I mean, there is a particular level of execution that he adds to our offensive press and defensive shape from attack.
Yeah.
That, like, if you don't know football, I can't help you. But that's the level he's adding, bro. I mean, that's such a testament to the third goal that we scored to wrap up the Brighton game, right? It's Kai dropping in deep, holding his position, breaking up play, knocking it through, and then there was Leo, man. What'd you think about that third goal?
Huge. And you know I love Trossard. I'm a big Trossard guy. Seeing Havertz get back a few times was nice. Seeing Trossard being able to... This is his one downfall at times, being that outlet, because he's not the paciest person, but he was able to get in front of that defender. And at that point, I've said it, I will say it again. He's the best finisher at the club. In my opinion, this dude, he's the best finisher in the club. Dink the keeper, excellent. I love the celebration. Getting booze from Brighton, getting a little bit of booze, but I think I gave Eric Cantona a shout last pod.
Yeah.
You know the Selly, arms out. This is your king, right? This is your king. Are you not entertained? He posted that after the game. Perfect.
He Excellent. Felt it, dude. He really felt it, man. And he's been such a pleasure to have at the club, dude. And honestly, it's such a credit, I feel, to the recruitment. that we've had, this is something that I'm not sure how you can measure. I'm not sure how, as a scout, you can come to the table and say, well, this is the type of player we have, but also he doesn't mind playing off the bench. That's just not really in the scouting report, I feel like. But to have a player like him who's just willing to say, you know what, you want to just give me 30 minutes or so? I get it. I'll give you everything I have. I'm going to sell it with passion as much as I can. And I'm keep rooting. So many shots he's ending up on the bench cam. Celebrating, dude. Like, it's his club, man.
Yeah. He's a late riser. I think he's got into the national team kind of late. He's 29. Came to a big club late. What's great about him? He's going to put his body on the line for the team. I don't think he cares. He cares how much he plays. I'm sure he wants to play as much as possible, but he doesn't care if he's coming in as a sub because he can make something happen, and he knows that. He has 11 goals, 2 assists this season total, 8 of those goals coming in the Premier League. Like you said, a lot of that's coming off the bench, I think. That's huge. And the assist probably could be there. Last season, he had a ton. Just came in January. Remember, started. That's
right.
He had bagged 3 assist games, back to back, which was crazy. So it's there for him. Trossard's huge. But to wrap up the game, one thing, and I'm sure you probably felt this as well, 2-0 game. It's a 2-0 game. That's been our Achilles heel for a couple years. I did not feel any pressure. The boys, you could tell, put in the second goal. We packed it in. Just kind of reminiscent of the City game. We kind of packed it in. You got Odegaard and Havertz being our front two, but they're well within our own half. We're just packing it in, letting them do their thing. We get the ball, we dump it forward, come again. They come forward, they're dinking it around. We get the ball, pump it forward, come again. Just over and over and over. And do you remember a Brighton chance? Because I don't. They had nothing. And eventually we get the Trossard goal. But it was no. It's the one time as a 2-0 as an Arsenal fan, I was like, oh, this is in the bag, bro. This is done. It's a done deal.
That's true. And to your point of just welcoming them on, how often do you see goals like that anymore? Where it's just like a player totally through from the half, right?
Yeah.
Just dribbling on and getting that goal. So yeah, they got a little greedy trying to get one back, right? And then next thing you know, it's 3. And I hear you, dude. Especially if David Raya is making saves. Good luck out there, bro.
Love it. You shouted it out. Gabriel makes the big block, 92nd minute. And I watched it back. I watched the clip. Trossard is the first one to give the well done. You can see his face. Raya's in there. Obviously, Gabriel gives the pump. Jorginho gets in. Saliba gets in. It's that's a huge moment. I think it's such an indicator. Trossard coming off the bench. Jorginho, old man, coming to the club as a Chelsea guy. Raya, the new keeper. Saliba, his partner in crime. That's such a big moment. This is it to the end of the season, man. 7 games left. Let's get it.
That feels good. Yeah, those celebrations were incredible. And if anyone knows what the clean sheet bonus is at Arsenal, drop it. Drop a link for us. Let us know because, man, big man out here playing clean sheets are worth millies, bro.
Huge.
So Kai Havertz was given man of the match. Satisfied?
Agreed.
And then the only thing from the Brighton game is that it was 100th appearance for Benny Blanco, dude.
Well deserved. 100 appearances.
Benny post Dubai. I think we got to talk about a little bit, dude.
That's fair. I was riding him for a while. I know you called that out a few times. I was riding him. Maybe it was an injury. Maybe it was, because this dude has been clean. Ben Blanco, I think we always love the tenacity he has. He's the one guy in the team that I know for sure. If someone gets one over on him, clips him, throws an elbow in, gets a shoulder into him, he's the one guy that's going to retaliate. And I like that as a player. That's the correct way to play the game in my eyes.
But he's not going to retaliate in the sense of, because there's retaliation and there's just stupid retaliation.
Yeah.
And to his credit, he's very clever at retaliating, dude.
100%. He's an eye for an eye type of guy. And I like it. And it's never over the top, like you're saying. I really haven't seen him get a yellow, red card for any of these instances. It's within the frame of the game.
Even the Brighton game, dude, what was that, like a little hand around his neck and he just collapsed to the ground like
funny,
that?
Like, as an Arsenal fan, it's funny. I know people were triggered by that, but like as an Arsenal fan, that's funny.
But that's like peak Ben.
Yes, exactly.
I think he had it turned on to the max to do that for that tiny touch, dude.
Is there another player in the team that does that?
I don't think so, man.
I do not think so either. But post Dubai, I think he had a tough stretch. It's a big indication. Our team had a tough stretch in December.
Yep.
Ben White had a tough stretch.
He's the engine. You've been calling him the engine.
He came back and what was it? 11 unbeaten?
Yeah, sticks, dude.
Woof. He's been a dog. He's been a dog. We got to ride him out.
He has, dude. You can tell. Recently is when I've noticed his knees being wrapped, and there's been some conversations around maybe he's working with something big that might actually require some things in the off season.
Okay.
But I saw a post that said that like the Arsenal medical staff are just amazed by his tolerance for pain, because that's just how much he's been playing through. But on top of all that, dude, I think his crossing has gotten better.
Yeah.
Right. And he's saucy, dude. I mean, he Meg Doku last year. Now you can say that. And in Luton,
that's it.
My goodness, dude.
Saucy.
He said, give me the Blanco sauce.
Continued the run. That's such a huge shout on Ben White, is I think his ability to learn. We've hit this plenty of times, and everybody, if you're listening to this and you're a true Arsenal fan, you know it, like the whole I don't watch football, yada yada. This dude is smart. He's learning the game. He came in as a center back. He's played defensive mid. He's played under Bielsa. He's playing on Arteta. Center back, bottom as a center back. He's now playing right back. Probably one of the best right backs now in the Premier League. Could potentially be in the England squad if Southgate had a brain. Like, this dude, he's the real deal. Like, don't give me this. He's a makeshift right. Like, he is a right back. Okay, he's overlapping. He's doing he can invert at times. Playing with Saka. If you can play with Saka, because Saka's a star. Like, you're the real deal.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. That feels good on Benny. That feels good about the Brighton game. I know we were off midweek, so just on the Luton game, there's one person who we have to give a shout out to coming out of that game, right? Our number 10, dude. The boy who lived. If you know the episode, you know the episode, dude. Emile Smith-Rowe. Defensive masterclass. Topped off with Man of the Match award against Luton, dude. Sees 90 minutes. Nothing more. You know, don't see him again. But credit to him. What a professional. He's been learning. Speaking of learning, he was winning the duels, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was. He was involved in that one goal, winning it off him. Basically in the hockey assist, you could say. And then he got it would have been an assist if Reece put it away, but basically got that other goal too. Huge, man. I'm going to say this. This could be controversial. I don't think he's going to be with us next year. I just don't. I see him being potentially a player in the run-in. 7 games. He can obviously be an attacker for us. He's so good attacking-wise. He's so direct. He can play the Arsenal ball. He obviously put in a defensive performance, had some good tackles. I just don't see him being in our squad next year. But for the next 7 games, I hope for good things for this dude.
Well, I really hope you're wrong about that.
It could be controversial. Everybody loves him. I know that. And it's not that I like the dude. I love him. I wouldn't be mad to see him stay, but he's homegrown. The whole financial thing. Everton just lost more points for financial fair play. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see, man. There's a lot of things to figure out, because for me, I think Smith-Rowe is better than Fabio Vieira.
That is such a good question to basically frame to the club, is like, which one? Because you don't know which one. We bought Fabio Vieira for 30. I'd probably put the price range for Smith-Rowe around 30, to be honest. Which one?
I think if you're selling them, they're both going for the same value, to your point, just given their age and where they are and their experience in leagues. And that's what it comes down to. And what are the financial indications of that? But for me, Smith Rowe over Vieira. If I have offers for both of them and I have to sell one, I'm selling Vieira.
I think, oh man, that's such a good question. The culture and everything, Smith Rowe's ingrained in it. He was at the very beginning of the Arteta era. He really brought us through that one season. He was the guy. And it's just been sad because ever since, where's he been? He's been hurt.
Well, he's been hurt partly. The other parts have been just other players who've been ahead of him on the starting sheet have just, those places are hard to lose now, right? Maybe a couple of seasons ago, it's much easier to win back your starting position.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's just not as much. And those chances come far and few in between, right? And you've said this before. Those chances don't come very often, man. Ask Smith Rowe. Ask Reece Nelson. So we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be really interesting. Like I said, I hope he stays. I'd rather see Reece go. I'd rather see Eddie go. And I'd rather see like for like Fabio Vieira go.
If you're going to, the way you just put it was good. If you have to lose one of the three guys, one of the three boys, Reece, Eddie, Smith Rowe, I want to keep Smith Rowe and lose the other two. That would be my preference. I think he's the best of those three. But I guess, we don't know the business implications, the financial stuff. I'm not in the boardroom with the talks, so we'll see.
Yeah, not at that big boy table yet, but we'll see about that. We will see about that. Couple of other things to just wrap up here. So after a Luton game, it made it 25 goals that Arsenal have scored against newly promoted sides this season. And that just felt like such a good measure of quality to me. So I wanted to bring it up a little bit. And yeah, look, it's 25 goals against newly promoted sides without a number 9, by the way. So feeling really good about the bar that we're setting. How many times in the past you remember Arsenal struggling against newly promoted sides just because these guys are from the league under, they play tougher, man. They're just a little harder, right? And Arsenal really struggled with that. Not anymore, dude. Not anymore.
Trap game. That's the big thing from years and years and years of watching this team. It's a trap game, and they seem to always get us. There's always a couple, maybe one every year. Trap game will get you. No longer. And what you just said is perfect. The team coming up from the championship, they're hard. They're good in the air. They're going to play the set pieces. We're the big dudes now. We play set pieces. Things have changed, man. Things have really changed. So we're talking about this many goals against the promoted sides. But guess what? We're first in goals for in the league. We're first in goals against in the league. We're first in goal difference in the league. Okay? Oh, and we're also top of the table. Okay? To make it a complete set. We're first in almost all of those metrics. Ron said this last week, so he's a City supporter. Said it on the pod. Arsenal have probably been the best team from start to finish. And I kind of agree with him. Obviously, I'm biased because I'm an Arsenal fan, but from start to finish, the way the team's performing consistently, this is a very, very good team.
It is, and it's something to be proud of, and it's something to believe in. I'm gonna go back to this. 7 games left now, dude. We're sitting top after Liverpool drew Manchester United 2-2. 1 point is separating the 3 at the top, right? So it's just something to be proud of, and it's something to believe in. And if we fall short, I feel like, to your point, you said this last week, I think, I might not be as sad or as disappointed, because I feel like that was a hell of a run, right?
Yeah.
We gave it a hell of a try.
That's completely it. I will not feel hard done by. If we fall apart here in the last 7 games, I will have a nasty taste in my mouth. Disgusted. I don't see that happening. I think we're going to finish strong. If we lose 1-2 games, all right. But I just don't see a capitulation happening and completely falling apart. Tough games. If we win the title with the games we have remaining, I don't think there can be no naysayers at all. So we have
Why do you say that?
Villa at home, big game. Wolves away, United away, Tottenham away, Chelsea at home. Chelsea are the jokers. Who knows who's going to show up? Could be a quality side that's loves playing off the ball, pacey. That's 5 games of our 7. Tough games.
Those are tough games, and I think in between all of it is also Everton, who are just fighting for relegation. So yeah, these are tested games, and a couple of them are games that just form goes out of the window, right? It doesn't matter. Like North London Derby, it doesn't matter. I mean, we can despise them as much as we want, but come to that kickoff, nothing matters, and you know for a fact they're going to be doing everything they can to play spoiler. That's the only part they're good at acting at, bro.
Yeah, so Liverpool United is a great game to take, for example. I think the XG on that game was like 4 and United had just under 1. I mean, Liverpool smoked them. All the chances. 2-2 game. One of them was an absolute banger, and the other one was like a 40-yard shot from outside the box from a pass from a center back. It's like they had 2 sniffs of goal and they took them out of nothing the entire game. And then to even draw the game, Liverpool had to get a penalty from a brain dead Wan-Bissaka, which was crazy. You never, in those huge games, those rivalry games, anything can happen, really.
Anything can happen. And just to go back on this point, man, Wan-Bissaka, how many times have you seen that make that tackle?
Yeah.
This is the difference between our players and the attitude and the mindset that the manager is instilling in them. It's that we are learning from our mistakes, dude. The manager is learning from his mistakes.
Huge.
And that is under discussed. Maybe we can get into that a little bit later, maybe at a future pod. For now, let's take a little break. I'm going to put on some hold music, and when we come back, we're going to look forward to the Bayern game, which should be happening today. By the time you're listening to this, it should be Tuesday. Champions League nights are back, dude. And then we'll also look ahead to Aston Villa and wrap the pod up with an update about the ladies of Arsenal. All right, so we are back and opened up a couple of brews. Not gonna lie to you, it's we are recording on a Monday after hours, so did get to see the eclipse earlier. But if you add a 3-0 to a 2-0, gives you a 5-0. Only feels right to crack open a cold one while we get into the second part of the show. If you're listening and you also feel inclined, if you think the area around you is safe, crack open a cold one and indulge in this conversation. Salute. All right, man. Well, I told you the confidence is high, had the title of the pod written before kickoff, and I'm hoping that it only continues on, dude. Obviously, Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, home game, Champions League night, dude. Against Bayern Munich. It should be an all Red Sea environment, and Arsenal are the favorites. I looked at the odds. It looks like Arsenal are minus 121 and Bayern are plus 303. So 3-1 odds on Bayern for them to maybe pull off an upset here. And that's nice. Also, the win probability is in Arsenal's favor with a 51% chance of a win, 23% chance of a win for Bayern, and the remaining 20-something odds are just a draw.
Interesting. This is very exciting, man. I've been waiting for this week to come on a Tuesday. Interesting. I think we talked about this before. This first leg has to be big. It has to be a win. First leg at home, Emirates is going to be buzzing. It's going to be buzzing. Has to be a win. If we go to the Allianz Arena, we have our lead. Guess what we do? We put on the City show, right? Lock it in. Maybe play on the counter. See what we can do. Make a few dangerous plays, but we're going to shut it down, shut you down, and you're not going to score on us. Tomorrow is such a big day because we have to get the lead tomorrow. I want to say on a previous pod, I said, I'm looking for a 3-0 or a 2-0 tomorrow. First leg. I still see that. I really think we put it on them tomorrow, man. Lineup changes. I see a progressive 6 coming on the field. Thomas Partey. I do see him starting. I want to say maybe run out a lot of the same players. Kai up top. Saka's obviously going to play. Left back, I don't really know. Left back and left wing, those are 2 positions I'm going to say. I don't know. But Thomas Partey at the 6 is going to be the big change, in my opinion. Him, Rice, Odegaard. It's the first time we've seen it since, the Community Shield, I think, man. Putting those 3 in the midfield for a big game. Huge. I think Arsenal win the clash, but we have to do it based on tomorrow's performance.
Okay. I hear you. I mean, this is the draw that you have been looking forward to, right? This is the draw that you wanted. It's the draw that the footballing gods gave us. And for me, there is just such a sweet taste in revenge that this game is begging for. That's all it is, man. How many times we went to Allianz Arena and they smoked us? How many times they came to the Emirates and smoked us, dude? So this is it. I think if you want to be considered a big club and in this season and be one of the big boys, you go out there and you send a statement that this is the Emirates, bro. And we don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Luton and you're coming into town or if you're Bayern Munich and you're coming into town. You're going to have a hard time and we're going to have a good time. And that's what I want, man. In terms of the lineup, I hear you. I'm fully backing Tommy Partey to start. And for me, I think I said this before, Bayern's right wing is the position that worries me. It's Sané and potentially Gnabry. I think it'll be Sané. I want to see Tommy play. I think Tommy, for me, should get the start. And then we'll just run the rest of it out. I think I'm totally okay playing Tommy and knowing he's better at one-on-one defending that Kiwior. He can make up. I think what we missed with Zinchenko is made up with Thomas Partey. And then those would be our 3 back line. And then Benny Blanco, the engine, just doing the overlap. I really want to see Tommy start this game.
100%. And I don't feel bad about getting him off either. If he can only play 60, that's fine. I trust Jorginho to finish a game out. I do. He has to give us 35 minutes, 40 minutes. Jorginho, he can do it. 100%. He's been starting games for us. He's such a quality player. Tomorrow is the day, man. It's exciting. It's going to be buzzing. I think the stadium is going to be crazy. I'm looking at the lineup Bayern put out on Saturday. It's strong. It's a strong team. I think I read today that Neuer was in training. He might be able to be available. It's a strong team. Like looking through, people want to say, "Oh, Bayern aren't what they used to be. Oh, they're throwing away the league. They got no shot." And I'll agree. Sure, this isn't prime Bayern Munich. Okay, this isn't the teams that we got battered 14-2 or whatever it was. But this is a good team. Kimmich, Upamecano, Alphonso Davies, Goretzka, Muller, Musiala, Harry Kane, Gnabry, Sané. These are huge names. These are international players that have won thing on multiple stages. Man, Emirates go be buzzing.
Absolutely, dude. And to say it's not prime Bayern, like, one, that's so lazy. I know for a fact 80% of the people that say that don't watch the Bundesliga. I can just tell you that right now. And on top of it, how many times did Bayern get to play prime Arsenal? It's not like they were going up against the Invincibles and smashing them like 14-2, right? So it's like, okay, maybe your team's a little beat up, but that's still, I think that team against an Arsenal team from 6 years ago, that could very well be an 8-2 job to Bayern.
Yeah. And I have a question for you. What is our strongest 11? I think versus Brighton, to me, that was like, as of today, April, that was our strongest 11. And I would take out, the only swap I would do is Jesus for Martinelli and say that's my strongest 11. I don't know about beginning of the season, if you ask me, the midfield three of Rice, Odegaard, Partey, that's my strongest 11. Do you think we've seen our strongest 11? Are we ever going to have a team where we're like, that's our go-to Champions League final? Who's getting on the field? Do we know that yet?
I tell you who's not getting in the team for a Champions League final, and it's Zinchenko. I've said that before.
You have.
He is not a cup final outside back. And if you treat tomorrow, or we're saying tomorrow, but Tuesday, like today, if you're listening to it on Champions League night, Zinchenko is not a cup final outside back. So there's no reason for him to be starting a game that you might treat as such. But your question, I think, is such a funny one to kind of sum up this season, because I think Jurrien Timber gets into our best 11. And I've seen that guy play 2 games, dude. So that aspect of it is still just mind-boggling. I think starting 11 for this game, yeah, I mean, the center backs are a lock. Blanco's a lock. Goalkeeper's a lock. Midfield, I agree with you. That trio, I mean, honestly, that feels like such a good trio. Kai at the 9 now. It's his position. I've always liked Martinelli coming off the bench. So I do think Jesus gets in as the starter on the wing, because he will work back. He will do what he has to do offensively. Did he miss the header against Brighton? Yeah. Do I think Martinelli would have scored that header? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's enough for him to just kind of keep that position for now. And yeah, it all just comes down to the left back, dude. And I really think at this moment in time, Tomiyasu gets in at the left back as our best 11. That's why I want Tomiyasu to play against Bayern. I want him to start.
We're having these discussions, and this is like why we started the podcast. This is stuff we would just be talking about. Like, it's just funny to sit back as a fan and think about the team. Obviously, Arteta has his mind made up. I know, right? He's had his mind made up. He knows what he's going to do. But us talking about it, it's like I'm thinking like, so I ask you this question. And it's like, man, as a collective, this team is just so good. As a collective through the season, we've had Jurrien Timber was probably going to be the starting outside back, left back.
Isn't that crazy, dude?
The Community Shield, he was the starting left back. First game of the season, starting left back. At the time, Zinchenko was hurt, but we've seen players, Saliba, taking Ben White's position beginning of the season. You don't drop a beat, bang. Such a collective group. We have so many options. Jesus at the left wing. You can play whoever at the left back, because guess what? He going to help out. He going to work his ass back and do whatever needs to be done on both ends of the field. Goal scoring, he's going to leave you lacking. We know that. Little left to be wanted there, but he produces so much everywhere else. That's great. This team is such a collective, man. That was a great point. I like that.
Dude, I mean, the Timber thing is crazy. That Community Shield game, by the way, Bernardo Silva was playing right wing.
Mm-hmm.
Man had nowhere to go, dude. I really think Timber is that guy. Like, I'm so excited for it to kind of be next season already. It's like, I want to see this guy get some time. And yeah, it's such a credit to the team that has been built. I don't know anything about Bayern's lineup, who they're going to put out. I will tell you, for this game, I really, really do want a shutout. Not, away goals don't matter anymore, but I really want a shutout. So I think my score prediction will be, and bear with me here, folks, but those of you who've been listening to the pod for a long time, you know it's a home game,
Don't
dude.
do it to him.
You know it's a home game, bro. And I've been missing those champagne parties, dude. 4-0 to the Arsenal, baby. I'm riding hot with my heart. I only cracked open one beer, by the way, so I'm just still talking to you as straight as I can be. 4-0.
Woo! I don't see that, but I could see. I said 2-0, 3-0. I mean, shit. if they really want to try to put it on us, that's a 4-0. But second leg, if let's just say it's a 2-0, 3-0 job, do you think it's basically job done? As in, we're gonna go there and shut up shop?
The only scoreline I feel like it's job done is 4-0, to be honest with you. Anything under that, if it's a 3-1, if it's a 3-0 even, if it's a 2-0, that I'd be the most worried about that going into that game. And no, I really think, I mean, it's Champions League, dude. It's Bayern Munich. And that the reason I feel good about my 4-0 is because I can see them getting frustrated and I can see them coming out to try to play football. And I think Mikel's got a good record against Tommy Tuchel too. So that's why I'm backing the team. But it'll be so hard. It will be so hard. Anything under 4-0. It's still a game on, dude.
Yeah. New to the Champions League. I still believe that. New to the Champions League. It's a little bit different. Porto gave us such a hard time because it's Champions League football. It's just a little bit different than playing a 1-game win, lose, draw. Like, no, this is a 2-stage thing. There has to be a winner in it. It don't matter how you get across the finish line, right? It doesn't matter if you lose a leg and an arm, but your tongue sticks out your mouth and you get that's what Porto tried to do. It didn't work out for them, but they were close. They were in the race. So it's a very different game. The only way it's over, in my opinion, like you said, is we really just somehow put a 4 or 5 piece on them, which is unlikely. But going back to the Allianz, if we have a lead, I will feel confident. But job's not done until it's done.
I hear you on that. All right, let's turn our attention to the Premier League because, well, I'm not quite sure if we will have a reaction pod for you for the Bayern game. I mean, if it's 4-0, obviously, we might just have to get on the mic, right? But if not, you can expect to hear from us again after the Aston Villa game, which will take place on Sunday. And is it a home game?
It is at home because we lost to Villa away. That was during that terrible period when we outplayed them. If you remember that, they got an early goal. I think it was the bowling ball, John McGinn.
Now that I'm thinking back about the game, I remember Jesus getting kicked in the penalty box and nothing being awarded, as if we were trying to make the league a little tight back then because it was still too early.
Yeah, but it was a game we lost. They were hot. We were coming into our period where we just couldn't find the back of the net. Had tons of chances against them. We outplayed them, in my opinion. We totally outplayed them, but they got an early goal and were able to hold on. This one's at home. Villa, I'm not going to say they're in the greatest form. They're still doing well, just not in as hot of a form. They had just beaten City before that, if you remember.
Oh, yes.
And they just played City and lost. So things have changed a bit. I got us winning this game. We have to win. This, to me, is a must-win game.
Yeah, it's one of those where I can again see the revenge narrative being there. It's Une's homecoming, call it that. And I just feel like we're so locked in at this moment in time that it really doesn't matter who it is, dude. It really doesn't matter. And at home, I mean, I don't know how the game's going to go for the Champions League. Obviously, I hope he goes 4-0. But it's hard to imagine Bayern beating us 3-0 at home. It's hard to imagine coming out of the Champions League night and thinking, oh, our entire confidence has just been shattered. That's hard to imagine. So that's why I think we're still going to go into the Premier League feeling very good. And, man, it's at home again, bro. Not back-to-back 4-0s.
Don't do it to him, man. Come on.
Not back-to-back 4-0s, man. Sheesh. Come on, Mikel.
I don't see it being a 4-0 job. They're a good team. Villa's good. I don't see it being a 4-0 job. I do have a question in my head of like, is this the new Arsenal of like you put 2 on somebody and you just shut up shop? I just wonder if we do put up 2 goals on any of these teams and shut up shop, we're done. We can waste the rest of the time, easy peasy. Villa, there's the revenge factor. Une, nah, man, I'll go with a nice, thrilling 2-1. Actually, I think it's gonna be a good game.
Really,
I do, because Villa, the pressure's on. They dropped to 5th. Tottenham jumped them. The pressure's on them. I think they're going to put out a performance, but we them boys. We them boys!
We'll see. One thing is for sure, Une is not going to field as weak of a team as he did midweek against Manchester City. That was ridiculous, dude.
Ollie's back. Watkins is back. I do think they were hurt. I won't play into that narrative. I don't think he sat him just to sit him. Like I just said, Spurs jumped over him. I don't play into that narrative.
Okay.
I don't. Watkins is going to play. McGinn didn't play. I totally forgot because he's an idiot and he kicked that dude and he got a red card.
Dude, maybe it's just Une things because even at the weekend, they were winning 2-0, weren't they, against Brentford?
Ooh, were they?
And then they ended up drawing the game 3-3.
Let me fact check you.
Fact check me on the pod, dude.
Fact check complete. They were up 2-0.
Dude, it was like a classic Une thing,
no
man.
Way. Wow. And then they went down 3-2, came back. Ollie Watkins with 2 goals.
So yeah,
he's hot.
So yeah, it's just Une things. Maybe it's not so much about who they're fielding and why.
That bowling ball is back then for our game. He served his 2-game suspension.
Yeah, but did you see Douglas Luiz got 10 yellow cards, so he will miss the game.
Vamos. Okay. Well, that's good. I rate Douglas Luiz quite a bit, so shout out that. It's going to be a good game. Une coming back to the Emirates. You could say it's a revenge game for us. It's a revenge game for him. This is his best team so far at Villa. He's going to want to put it on us.
Yeah, and you know what really bothers me? I'm just going to go on a little tangent here, dude.
Ooh, let's hear it.
It really bothers me when we're so heavily linked with someone and then I don't get to watch them play against us. This guy Ferguson at Brighton. How many times have we been mentioning with being linked with this guy? Doesn't even play the game. Same now with Douglas Luiz. I mean, I've seen him play against us before, but like, I don't love that dude. It's like, hey, if we're playing you and we're linked with you, I want to see the guy that everyone keeps going on and on about and see what he's about. Against my 2 dogs in the back, bro. Come on, man.
I don't ever want to watch you guys play. I'm never going to put a game on that you guys are playing, but if I do have to watch you, I want to see the boys. Let the boys play.
Come on. All right. All right, man. Well, it's been a pretty good pod. Is there anything else we should chat about before we wrap this one up?
No, we hit it all over the place, man. We went last week, we went this week. The future, we're all over the place.
All over the place. Past, present, and the future, as
Dang.
my co-host likes to call it. One last thing before we go. Ladies of the Arsenal, they were off this past weekend, but they will return to action on Sunday against Bristol City at home in the Women's Super League. And I gotta be honest with you guys. The ladies are 9 points off of the league leaders, Manchester City, and we're in mid-April. So
it's a wrap.
I'm starting to feel like the league has gone away from them.
That's too bad. They won the Conti Cup, though, so we obviously shouted them out for that, but you can't win them all. Speaking of women's sports, let's give a shout out to South Carolina University of South Carolina, the Gamecocks. They won the national championship in women's basketball, played Iowa. It was an entertaining game. Iowa put them on them early, but those girls over at South Carolina, they have this huge girl. I think she's 6'7". She put it on them. So shout out South Carolina.
Dude, I caught a good bit of that game actually, and yeah, I mean, it's been so fascinating the women's tournament for NCAA and the records that they've been setting for viewership.
Yes.
And you just wonder, there's this phenom called Caitlin Clark. If you don't know, if you're listening from abroad, check her out, man. I mean, she can drain them, bro, from wherever. But it does make you think, like, will it just go away after she gets drafted, after she goes to the pros, or will it stick around, the sort of viewership and the engagement?
Yeah, I'd like to think it would stay. It's actually very entertaining because there's multiple teams in women's basketball that seem to be very good, which I think is the good part of it. The parity. There's not parity in the 64 teams that make the tournament. It's very top heavy, but that top is tight. So you could almost say it's Premier League like, that there's the 3 teams that are tight and then the rest of the field is kind of just there. just hanging out.
Mm.
So women's basketball, there's like a collective of four teams that are typically elite, and that's what you wait for them to play. And that's those talking about the huge numbers. Elite Eight on big games. There's big games almost every week, every weekend. The men's finals tonight. And I'll be honest with you, I was more engaged with the women's tournament the past 2 years now than I've been in the men's, which is, I think, a big, and I don't say indication for me, but just as viewership, the numbers are so big. Like, I'm more engaged because the games are better. The teams are closer. So I appreciate it. I'm probably going to keep watching as long as the field is tight like it is and there's no obvious winner. I'm going to be watching.
I like that. Let's make that our last word. And thank everyone for spending time with us. If you like the podcast, please rate or leave a review. It really does help with the algorithms. Also, please share it on social. Tell a friend. It's the best way for others to find out about us. And don't forget, you can write into the show, districtgooner@gmail.com. Man, I had a great time, dude, and I can't wait for the Champions League results.
Be easy.